You think you know what happens after you die. The grave, the questioning, the trumpet, the gathering, the scales, the bridge, thinner than a hair. Most people carry these as loose puzzle pieces and never ask the most important question. Why this order? Because when you lay it out, from the first breath after death to the final gate, something extraordinary emerges. This isn't a chaotic collapse. It's a courtroom, a process, the most precise act of justice ever described. Every stage answers the one before it. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. The Qur'an doesn't call the grave just a grave. It calls it Barzakh, a partition, a barrier that makes passage impossible. The moment you die, you don't drift into nothingness, and you don't leap into the next world. You enter a sealed in-between. You can look back. Death isn't an ending. It's a threshold. Immediately after burial, two angels come. Munkar wa Nakir. Their names come from a root meaning the unknown, the unrecognized. Everything you accumulated, status, wealth, the face you showed the world, none of it is here. You are asked 3 questions. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is this man sent among you? Before the great public courtroom, the soul is stripped of every illusion and made to stand face to face with bare truth, completely alone. The prophet, peace be upon him, said the grave is the first stage of the next life. Whoever is saved from it finds everything after easier. Then comes the trumpet. Whoever is in the heavens and the earth falls dead. Before a court can convene, the room must be cleared. The world stained with centuries of injustice, where the oppressor died comfortable and the oppressed died unheard. That entire arena is wiped clean with a single breath. Allah didn't pour new justice into the broken world. He emptied it first. Because justice built on top of injustice is just more injustice. Then the trumpet sounds again, and they rise. This is Ba'ath, not just revival, but a summons. You are woken because you are wanted somewhere. First, the soul faced truth alone in the Barzakh, a private reckoning. Now body and soul are rejoined for the public accounting. The hand that took, the tongue that lied, the eye that betrayed, all brought back. Now comes the hashr, the gathering. The word means to drive, to herd, to compel. Humanity will not stroll into that plain. It will be driven there. People are raised barefoot, naked, exactly as first created. The sun is brought close, and people drown in their own sweat according to their deeds. And here is the most devastating detail. The waiting itself is the reckoning. Standing in unbearable uncertainty is the most precise instrument of judgment that exists. Every person is left alone with conscience, replaying a life they can no longer change. The delay is not cruelty. The delay is the mirror. The standing becomes so unbearable that humanity goes searching, from Adam to Nuh to Ibrahim to Musa to Isa. Each excuses himself until they reach the final messenger, peace be upon him, who falls in prostration and asks not to overturn a verdict, but simply that the reckoning begin. This is Shafa'atul Uzma, the great intercession. The records are distributed, every word, every deed, written by angels who never blinked. The one who receives his record in his right hand cries out in joy. The one who receives it in his left wishes he had remained dust. Documentation before interrogation. Nobody is ambushed. Every person is handed the indictment they wrote with their own hands and made to read it. You are your own witness. No human court on earth gives you the case file before the questioning. This one does. Then comes the hisab. Every soul stands before its Lord with no interpreter between them. In the world, you could hide behind family, wealth, position. Here, there is nothing between you and the truth. The believer's reckoning is gentle. Allah reminds him of his sins until he confesses, then says, I concealed them for you in the world, and I forgive them today. But for the denier, sins are read openly, and in the most chilling image in the Qur'an. Mouths are sealed, and hands speak, and feet testify. The body that was the partner in every sin is finally cross-examined. In the midst of that brutal thirst, the believers are led to the housed. The pool granted to the Prophet, peace be upon him, whiter than milk, sweeter than honey. Whoever drinks never thirsts again. But not everyone reaches it. Some will be driven away. The Prophet, peace be upon him, will say, the answer comes, you do not know what they invented after you. Belonging is not claimed, it is held to. Then the scales, the mizan. Most imagine a counting machine, good on one side, bad on the other. But what's weighed is not the size of the deed, but the weight of what was inside it. The sincerity, the intention. A massive act done for show lands as light as a feather. A single sincere phrase crashes down heavier than mountains. In an authentic hadith, a man's record fills 99 scrolls long as the horizon, and a single card bearing the testimony of faith outweighs them all. Not the words, the sincerity. The man who prayed for applause and the man who whispered in the dark discover at the scale that everything was backwards. Only now comes the bridge, the Sirat, thinner than a hair, sharper than a sword, laid across hell. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said the speed at which a person crosses is tied to the light they carried. Some cross like lightning, some like wind, some walk, some crawl. The bridge isn't a random hazard. It's the straight path you walked in the world, made visible. However steadily you walked truth in life is how steadily you cross now. And on the two sides, trustworthiness and the bonds of kinship stand, claiming their rights from everyone who passes. Allah may forgive sins committed against him directly, but the rights you trampled belonging to others are not erased. The Prophet, peace be upon him, asked, do you know who the bankrupt one is? They said, the one with no money. He said, no. The bankrupt one comes with prayers and fasting and charity, but insulted this one, took the wealth of that one, shed the blood of another. Each is given from his good deeds. And when they run out, their sins are loaded onto him. The bankrupt one arrived with everything and lost it all at the bridge. Which is why settling debts in this world, going to the person you wronged, is one of the most urgent acts you can do. Before any believer enters the garden, there is a final purification. Allah removes whatever resentment was in their breasts, so they enter as brothers. No one carries an ounce of hatred through that gate. The heart is sterilized, every wound dissolved, and then the eternal decree. The gates of the garden open, the gates of the fire open, and death itself is brought forward in the form of a ram and slaughtered between the two, a voice declares, eternity now and no more death. The greatest enemy of mankind, the shadow over every joy, is itself put to death. And what remains for the believers is greater than the garden itself, the vision. To look upon the face of their Lord with no veil between them. Look at the order. Soul faces truth alone. World is cleared. Body is rejoined. Humanity waits with conscience. Intercession begins the proceedings. Documents handed out. Evidence before interrogation. Reckoning, with no one to hide behind. Pool, but only for those who belonged. Scales, where sincerity outweighs spectacle. Bridge, where rights of others are settled. Final cleansing of the heart. Then the slaughter of death itself. This is not a collapse. This is a process. A perfectly ordered movement of the soul back to its origin. And it speaks to something you might be carrying. Maybe justice in this world feels late. That you were wronged and no one saw. That you cried out and your voice disappeared. The long standing, the tilt of the scale, the settling of every debt at the bridge. All telling you the same thing. Not a single tear is unwitnessed. Not one whispered cruelty goes unrecorded. Not one quiet act of kindness, done in a room with no one watching, falls outside the lens. But the same scale that vindicates the wronged is the scale that will weigh you. What are you writing in your own record today? The light that determines your speed across the bridge is light you either kindle in this world or you don't. The debts you owe are debts you can still settle while you have breath in your chest. The sincerity that makes a single word outweigh mountains is built today. In the prayers no one sees, in the kindness no one applauds, in the moments when nobody is watching, and you choose the harder right, the afterlife isn't a distant horror. Stage by stage, it is the most ordered, most just, most merciful process ever described. And every step is a mirror held up to the life you are living. You think you're waiting for that day, but that day is simply the unfolding of what you are building right now. And one day, sooner than any of us imagines, the breath in your chest will pause. The barrier will close behind you, and the long sequence will start unfolding in real time with you as its subject. So before that moment arrives, ask the only question that matters. If the scale weighs the heart and not the show, if the bridge is just the shape of the path you're already walking, if the angels are writing every word right now, then what does your record say so far? And is the light you're carrying enough to cross by? If this opens something up for you, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And may Allah make our standing easy, our scales heavy, and our crossing one of light.